Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey with Ed and Rose on 90 Day Fiancé. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I am a therapist and a professor, and I'm going to react to this storyline. Let's see what happens and see if anything of interest or of usefulness comes out of my face.
So there's a test that you can take.
You test me?
No, yeah, it's a test for I don't know if you understand it. It's STD, which is I think it's a blood test, and they just test to see if you have like sexually transmitted disease. So I was asking if you're willing to take that test.
As I've said before, there's nothing wrong. In fact, there's a ton of health and functionality to have each other tested to make sure that everyone knows what's up. And nothing wrong with that. There is something not functional when it is one directional, and it is the effort is to find out if she has a past or not, which I think is why he's doing that. I'm going to take a guess and say that Ed's concern is, there's a number of reasons why he would ask for the STI test. One is the practicality, which we could understand. Two is he thinks it's going to help him with his jealousy, which maybe it will, but not in the long run, right? So let's see how she reacts to this one.
Ever ask you another question about your past?
I'm disappointed. I feel hurt. I feel, my heart cracked.
She's very good at knowing her emotions and communicating them, which is just fantastic. It's just like, it hurts my feelings. She's not transforming that hurt into anger. She's not standing up and walking out. She's not attacking him. She's just saying, I'm disappointed and hurt. It's very mature, very differentiated. Her parents must have done very well with her. Essentially, what parents do, when I say well, is that when you're 2, 3, 4 years old, as a parent, you notice the child's emotions, and you respond accordingly. And there's a lot of different responses one can have that would be accordingly or appropriate responses to an emotion. The child is hungry, the child is sad, the child is hurt, the child is angry, the child is happy, the child is jealous, and you notice that. You're attuned. You're like, I'm attuned to the child's emotion, and I appropriately intuit what they're probably feeling. I can read my child pretty well, and I respond in a way that helps them to navigate that experience, reduce their distress. I help them to modify their emotions a little bit they stepped on a sharp rock and they're like, and they're screaming, and you go to them and you look at the foot and it didn't break the skin, and the kid is having a meltdown, and you say to the 3-year-old, you say, I know that your foot really hurts, and I know that it must have been really, really scary to step on something that's so sharp and so painful. I know how that feels. I'm guessing that's how you're feeling right now. Is that what you're feeling right now? And the child's like, yeah, it really hurts. And it's like, yeah, and I'm with you, and we'll get through this together. That's being attuned to a kid. I'm guessing that Rose has had that experience with her parents because she immediately recognizes her emotions and has no problem just communicating them on that base level, on that primary emotion level, and not transforming them into anger as a way of trying to protect oneself from vulnerability, which is great. By the way, subscribe, hit the bell below. Also become a patron on Patreon, which is the best way you can show us that you like our product. If you want us to do more of these kinds of things, please become a patron on Patreon. It really does work that way. The more patrons, the more videos I can make. It is actually absolutely the way things work in my life because I only have so many hours in the day. Also, comment below. Have you felt the sort of jealousy I'm talking about? And as always, I just have to say everything that I'm saying about these people is based on what the producers have chosen to show us and what the actors have chosen to show the cameras. And so everything I could be saying could be completely wrong about these people because I haven't had a chance to actually assess them clinically. The only reason why I do these kinds of things is to use this as a almost fictional example so that you, the viewers, can learn about yourself, and you, therapists out there, can further your understanding of attachment. All right, let's continue.
You want to test me. I feel you not trust me. Okay? I feel offended.
I don't mean to offend you, but every time I asked you about your Facebook friends, every time I asked you about past relationships, you don't want to talk about it.
So she's really good at communicating. I kind of wish she put a little bit more emotion in the expression of, she's saying that I'm disappointed, I'm hurt. I wish she would put a little bit more visceralness, if you will, into the emotion so that he could really feel it in his soul. Because I'm guessing the language barriers there. I'm wondering, because I don't know. I guess I just believe that Ed has a heart, and so it's just kind of mind-boggling as to why he would just glance over that and forge ahead. She was very vulnerable, very functional to him, and he's just like, yeah, I get that. Anyway, the fact that you won't tell me about your Facebook past means that I need to have this STD test, and it's pretty disappointing. Also, the final disclaimer is, people out there, this video should not be a replacement for therapy. If you need therapy, you need to find a therapist, and you deserve to have a therapist. All right, let's continue watching.
So I'm not comfortable.
You're not comfortable
I'm not
with
comfortable.
me?
No, I'm not.
I want her to take the STD test because I want to know for myself that I can trust her and that, she's not someone that sleeps around.
The logic, you can have sex with one person one time, and she did because she has a child, and get an STI. So, and you can also have sex 1 billion times with 1 billion people and never get an STI. Now, obviously, there is a bit of a correlation there, but it's not a slam dunk. So that's weird. Plus, you can contract STIs through non-sexual contact. This is what I was talking about earlier, where you have the insecurity, it manifests in jealousy, and you get laser focused on answers, thinking that it's going to alleviate. He even said that. He said, if you get the STD test, I'm never going to ask you about Facebook again. I find that to be quite dubious, that if she gets an STI test, he's never going to be worried and all of his insecurities are going to go away. But that's what jealousy does to us. Without modeling and without therapy to help us, without people helping us understand our emotions the way that Rose understands her emotions, then we're kind of lost in the woods, as he fully exhibits in this interaction.
So take this simple test, and I'll never ask you again.
Okay. Also, you too. You have a test.
Great. Rose, now she's saying that her heart cracked, which, again, is exactly what I was talking about. He is trying to preserve security by doing what he's doing, and it's doing the exact opposite. It's causing her to feel so hurt that her heart is breaking, and she might be falling out of love with him by the second here. And you can kind of see it in her eyes, maybe. I'm just speculating. But what a wonderfully functional stand-up thing to say. Okay, I'll take the test, but you too. Isn't that the point here? That STI, it's not about me having an STI. I'm not the dirty person here. It's about both of us seeing what we have so that we can be responsible as partners.
You want me to take a test?
Yeah, both of us.
I would feel comfortable in the States. I'll take a test, but I'm not going to do it here. I would feel more
Because
comfortable.
if I'm first, I take, it's unfair.
It's mind-boggling that he looks confused, right? Like, even if you were jealous and you were doing these kinds of things and you were lost in the woods, the logic would make sense, right? Like, okay, let's both get a test. And the fact that he has this confused face is, it tells me that his defense is so strong that he's laser focused on particular solutions to his underlying feelings, and everything else is being ignored. He's really putting all of his eggs in one basket, and it's horrible because it's breaking her heart and it's pushing her away. It's really unfortunate to watch Ed shoot himself in the foot in this way. I don't know this. Maybe they'll end up getting married, but it sure looks like in that moment he may have just lost her.
I feel angry. I feel, oh, why they treat me like this?
Why can't you talk about your last relationship?
Always pass. My mind is, why you always ask me pass? For what?
So this is good too. Now she's expressing anger because it's okay. I expressed to him my disappointment and my hurt. Now he's keeping on it. So now I have to get angry. I have to show him that this is unfair, what you're doing. Why are you doing this? So let's see if he can learn from Rose in this situation.
For what? It's a past. So past is past. It never come back.
Okay, but then that's not fair to me. I can't trust you at this point.
What? You can't trust her? Again, I get it, Ed, but Jiminy crickets. It's so disappointing. And I'd be more upset if I believed Rose didn't have the strength and the differentiation and the attachment security to navigate this. I'm quite sure that she's like, what is wrong with this guy? How do I manage him? How do I get him to see what I'm trying to instead of internalizing it? But man, I didn't think Ed was this bad, I guess. It's frustrating to watch.
Because you're the one that's not being honest with me. Before we talk about me taking any test, if you're not going to talk about your past, then I'm not comfortable moving forward with this relationship. So why don't you think about it? I need some mirror, okay?
We might be seeing a glimpse into Ed's past relationships. I have a hard time believing that this is the first time this has emerged. I bet you anything if we talked with his past partners, they would say, oh yeah, he did that to me, and but it manifested differently because I lived in San Diego and blah, blah, blah. So this is very concerning. I'm quite sure, well, I would have a strong speculation that if we could get a full history of his relational traumas, that there would be a very logical explanation as to why he's doing this. But it doesn't justify it, but it does provide a conceptualization and a route for him to heal and become aware so that he doesn't do this with her or with whomever else in the future, because I don't know, this looks like it's ending right now.
Okay? What's wrong? It hurt. It hurt.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. Oh, heartbreaking. She seems like, I don't know, she seems like she's got a really good head on her shoulders. And in this moment, you people, since you like reality TV, I'm guessing you've seen a lot of reality TV shows, and I'm guessing that you've seen when people are in this position, when they're hurt, when they're accused of something that is unfair, there's a lot of different kinds of reactions. This is the most mature and differentiated. It hurts, and you cry, and you just sit there, and you're just like, oh, it hurts. I'm hurting right now. And it's such a healthy response. We've seen other responses in reality TV screw this, blah, 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 you know, anger, or I don't need this crap, I'm going to go cheat on it. You know, we've seen lots of different behaviors and also in our personal lives. So I feel for her. I feel so bad for her. I want to grab Ed and just explain this whole thing to him and say, you march back in there and you apologize. You probably just lost her, but you owe her a massive apology right now. Do you understand what you are doing? I get that you're attachment insecure, and I get that you're worried you're going to lose her. Okay. But do you realize that your defense against the attachment insecurity and loss basically just caused her to not love you anymore, potentially? I wouldn't say that part, but because I wouldn't know, but I would say there's a possibility. Anyway, it's really hard to watch. Her reaction seems to indicate that she was in this for all the right reasons, that she was in this because she actually did care about him and that she did have romantic feelings for him. At least that's what I'm reading. To be that devastated and that hurt indicates that there was, her heart was involved in this. At least that's how I'm reading it, which on one hand is terrible for her because she's so hurt, but on another hand, it's heartening to see someone in it for the right reasons. I obviously can't know that, but it certainly looks that way, because I've seen on this show other kinds of interactions like this where someone in her position is hurt and they don't seem to really exhibit the hurt. Now, not everyone exhibits the hurt in the same way. I know that fully well, but anyway, I hope you know what I'm saying. What do you think? Comment below. Do you think she really loves him?
I just asked Rose to take an STD test, and it's so frustrating because I don't think she understands why I need to know that.
Because you didn't explain it to her. Or you did basically say that you think that she's promiscuous and a horrible person, and that's why. So why do you, what's your conscious mind telling you as to why you're asking her that?
I'm not going to leave you here. I want to make sure that you get home safe.
You don't worry about me.
No, I am going to worry about you.
I don't care.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Because I hurt. So I'm go home in my own. You know, it's what I mean, my feelings. So I want to be angry to you, but I love you, but I want to go home in my own.
I've seen this sort of behavior before. My heart breaks for her. But for Ed, it's like this dichotomy of treat someone like crap without any remorse and then tell them that you insist on driving them home. Like, pick a lane. Treat me like crap and then insist that it's like, is everything just about your manhood? And that's another question. Is Ed purely concerned about how he looks? Is this part of the equation that he wants to be able to walk down Main Street in San Diego with people thinking, ooh, he has a young, pure wife that probably never had sex with anyone before, even though she has a child? Is that what he's after? And then he confronts her in a somewhat, you could say, sexist manner. And then also in a sexist manner is like, well, I'm not going to let you go home without a man protecting you. It's like everything's going in the wrong direction. And you can really just see her very healthy, understandable emotions coming out. Now, Ed, on his face, it looks like he's turning a corner, like he might actually start to realize what the hell he's doing here.
I don't need your worry right now, okay? I'm very, very, very hurt.
It was never my intention to hurt Rose in any way, but how can we begin our life on a foundation of honesty if she won't be upfront with me?
She agreed to take the test. How is she not being upfront with you? She agreed to take the test, and then she said, you take it too. So what is she hiding from you at this point?
I just want to know the truth. If you're willing to sit down and talk to me about even your last boyfriend.
What you want?
I want to know. I want to know where Prince's dad is. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life with somebody I can't trust.
You want to know who's the father of Prince? It's my own, her life. Her life is her own, her baby, her own wife. So I never talk to her. It never, ever.
So, okay. I mean, I get that he would want to know who the father of his potential stepson is. And so why didn't you just ask that question? She seems fully willing to answer that question. But I'm guessing that's not really what he was laser focused on, because he was laser focused on details, which he thought would, anyway, let's see what he manages to do here.
Kakilala kami ng tatay ng anak ko, binata siya. So, nung nagkahiwalay kami, doon siya nagkaroon ng bagong pamilya. Matagal na kaming hiwalay. Now, we're not talking to each other.
And that was 4 years ago,
Yeah.
right? Talk to me about what's happened in the last 4 years.
What does it matter? Okay, let's say she says, I had sex with 100 guys and I don't have an STI. So what's it to you? It's upsetting. There's a possibility that she's turned a corner in terms of her love, and she's like, screw it. Okay, I'll just tell him what's up.
I have 2 boyfriends. It's hurt to me. So I leave. I don't have any voice anymore. That's all.
This is all I wanted, was what you just said. That's right there. That's all I wanted.
Hindi ka nakakaintindi.
That's all you wanted? You were interrogating her about Facebook and telling her she needs to get an STI test and refusing you to, so this lends itself to the speculation hypothesis that this is actually more than jealousy for him, that it actually is recreating some relationship that he had in his past that is making her feel the way that he felt in a previous relationship, which is a very common thing that we do subconsciously. Just speculation where he, Ed, in his past, either repetitively or in a very epic manner, he was made to feel worthless. He was made to feel bad. He was made to feel not good enough, probably repeatedly. And he is just transforming or applying the dyad that he internalized into a romantic setting right now. And he is making her feel, he's really working hard to make her feel worthless and not good enough and dirty and gross, as a way of maybe trying to get rid of his identification of himself as being that way. And we do this all the time. It's actually a very common thing in therapy. Therapists will have countertransference that will be sometimes indicative of what is actually happening on the inside of the client. As a therapist, sometimes I'll feel worthless, or I'll feel demoralized, or I'll feel anxious, or I'll feel something negative in the presence of a client. And when I notice it, sometimes it's just me feeling that way, which is entirely possible. But sometimes it's a provocation from the client to inject me with that feeling because it's something that they haven't metabolized yet, and they're giving it to me to metabolize. It's a long story. But anyway, let's see how she manages from this point forward.
Okay.
Don't want to talk to you because you don't understand me.
Well, hello. I don't speak Tagalog, please.
Sa'yo, balak sa buhay mo.
Rose,
Iinis
we're
na ako.
getting somewhere.
Pag lagi niya pinaglalaban kasi sa akin parang wala siyang tiwala sa akin.
For what it's worth, I'm sorry.
For what it's worth, I'm sorry. What are you sorry about? I'm guessing he doesn't see what he should be sorry about. So, I don't know, maybe he'll figure it out.
What just happened?
I don't know. But I do not believe in love.
Okay, I feel bad for Ed. He just expressed that fear and that there's probably a lot behind that statement. I don't believe in love. There's probably a lot of trauma behind that. It's interesting because he comes across as such a happy-go-lucky guy, and that's probably another defense. He might have learned in his early life that he had to always be happy and not pay any attention to his feelings. That would be a speculation about that. And right there was a very raw moment that I'm guessing is present often for him. But it manifests into happy-go-luckiness or controlling jealousy, laser focus, getting information behaviors. I feel bad for him. I do. I really hope that he can get the therapy that he deserves so that he can explore those things and heal from whatever it is that is causing him so much pain on the inside and so much worry on the inside. He deserves that. All right. Well, that does it for that difficult episode of 90 Day Fiancé. It's hard to watch these kinds of episodes, honestly. I really do believe that these two individuals are in it with their heart and soul, and it's really sad to see people getting hurt when there are what I believe, some pretty easy ways for them to navigate this without hurting each other, particularly for Ed to navigate this without hurting himself and also hurting Rose. So, everyone out there, please take care of yourself, take care of others, because you deserve it. You really, really do.